Your mindset is the root of your reality. If you can change your mindset, then you can change your life. Welcome, Master Your Vibe. Mind bright, vibe right. The mindset reboot for those ready for some calibration to their vibration. I'm your host, King Yes Indeed, your guide for this vibrational journey, here to help you conquer any mental blocks, fine-tune your inner frequency, and navigate to your higher self. If you're ready to make your mind bright so you can vibe right, then you're in the right place. Let the journey begin. Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Welcome back to Master Your Mindset. And today we are going to be diving into dimension number 4, the energy dimension. We're going to be talking about how you feel. So when we talked about the lens dimension was how you see. The habit dimension is how you think. The story dimension is how you frame things, or the story that you tell yourself. And the energy dimension is how you carry all of this within your body and your emotions. Energy is the emotion that flows through you. It influences whether your mindset feels heavy, whether it's light, whether it's stagnant, whether it's depleted, whether it's empowered. In many ways, it is the most felt of the 7 dimensions because it's where your thoughts and your narrative basically translate, or this is how you express yourself through the way that you live and things that you do. Energy is the fuel that powers your mindset. It's more than just a physical stamina. It is your mental, emotional, physical, and even spiritual energy all rolled into one. And so this dimension asks, what state are you showing up in? How are you showing up to the people around you? Because the quality of your energy determines the quality of how you focus, the decisions that you make, the relationships that you decide to have or don't have, and then the results of all of these things. And so let's go ahead and talk about why this dimension even matters. All right. It matters because of your physical energy, right? Your physical energy, it talks about your nutrition, your hydration, the rest, and also whether or not you exercise, right? Nutrition, are you eating right? Hydration, are you drinking the water, getting enough electrolytes? Rest is critical. That's the one that a lot of people overlook, is rest. Normally about 8 hours of sleep is average. But rest, you must rest. And then exercise. My brother John Bacon calls it body movement, right? Most people think of exercise as doing something like, lifting weights. And that's not necessarily it. I mean, if you just walk, if you run, if you do plyometrics, if you do anything, really, just move your body to get your heart rate up a little bit, that can be considered exercise. Right? So if your body is drained, your mind is not going to perform at its best. All right. Next, your mental energy. Your mental energy dictates whether or not you can focus. If you are thinking clearly, if you have the ability to process information without it being overwhelming or stressful, right? And this is protected by setting boundaries. Do you set boundaries? Do you have boundaries, right? And do you work on those things? Are you reducing distractions? Are you too overwhelmed with a whole bunch of little things? And so your mental energy is a huge part of this dimension. Your emotional energy. This can be your mood. It can affect your perspective. And then, of course, definitely your decision making. A lot of things are influenced with your emotions, your relationships. You mentioned earlier, the environment that you are in has a lot to do, or can have a lot to do, with your emotions. How you talk to yourself, your self-talk. You pepping yourself up, or are you self-deprecating? Right. What you say to yourself can have a lot to do and can influence your emotional energy. And then finally, your spiritual energy. Are you spiritual? And it's not, I mean, it could be religious, but it could just be a sense of worshiping, right? A sense of meaning or being, something that you align with. It could be if you are walking out your purpose, right? That could be your spiritual energy. It doesn't necessarily have to mean believing in God or a God, but it is something that you align with, something that you believe, something that is meaningful, and something that could be providing you a sense of purpose. All right. And this is basically what you feel connected to. Are you connected to something bigger than yourself? Are you tapping into something on a higher plane or a higher level than yourself? And this is why um, the energy dimension matters. Now, there are, of course, some things that can either take away your energy or enhance your energy. Some of the things that can take away or remove your energy is replaying mental, negative mental things over and over again, right? I remember when I was in high school, I played 8 seconds, and I think it was a game to go to the championship. I played 8 seconds. Um, Went down, missed a clear layup. We lost in the end of that was the end of our season, right? Replay that moment over and over and over and over again, and it really stopped me from progressing to a higher level of basketball. But it's that sort of thing where you just keep replaying that negative instance over and over again, and it really and it really kind of defines who you are, who you become. Toxic environments can drain your energy, right? People, places, um, what you watch and what you hear and what you listen to. I tell my wife all the time, she likes to listen to Paternity Court. And I just tell her, stop watching that mess. I call it mess. Um, but it's just stuff like that where if you perceive it to be negative, that can drain your energy. We all know about the toxic places where you don't belong, places where you are not welcome, places where bad things tend to happen. And then, of course, toxic people that always got some mess going on, people that don't have anything positive in their life, just toxic people. Over commitment can drain your energy. Saying yes to everything until you have nothing left. Until you have nothing left. You cannot do everything. One of my favorite sayings is you got to let grown folks be grown folks, right? So if they can't figure out a way to do it, maybe it wasn't meant for them to have, right? If they can't figure out a way to get something done, maybe it's not meant to be done for them. I'm not saying don't help. I'm not saying be selfish. I'm not saying don't be wise with your resources. What I'm saying is if you've done enough, if you are doing more than enough, don't take on something else just for the sake of helping. Sometimes you got to let people either help themselves or fail on their own, because that may be the place where their learning comes in. All right. And then finally, and probably most importantly, neglecting yourself. You don't sleep, you don't eat, you don't exercise, you don't read, and more importantly, you don't unplug. We got to get off these tablets. We got to get from in front of that TV, get out into nature, get out by the water, just get out into some silence, some place where you can't hear anything but the birds. You can't hear anything but the wind. You can't hear anything but the water running. You got to do all of those things. And of course, we talked about earlier, got to eat right, and you have to get rest. There is no doubt about those two things. Sleep and rest, super, super critical. All right. Now, on the flip side, some of the things we can use to enhance our energy, exactly what I just said: exercise, walking, stretching, um, meditation, right? And these things don't have to be long. I mean, minimum 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day is all it takes. And many people have said that they have felt refreshed just after small increments of working out. All right, breathing exercises, right? This is where the meditation comes in. This is where focusing on your breath. We talk about yoga practices can help with that. Something that makes you happy, right? Rituals or routines that you have, listening to music or creating music, right? Listening to comedy, laughing, sitting with friends, being creative, painting, art. Just small things. For me, it's video games. I love playing video games. So when I am like really tapped out, I'll just, I'll call it just mindlessness. I'll turn on the thing, I'll turn on the game, and we'll go from there, right? And then setting boundaries. There are far too many of us that either don't have boundaries or our boundaries are not set properly. And we need these things to protect our emotional and our mental state. You can't let anyone just do anything to you. Tell my family all the time, you have to teach people how to treat you, because most people they'll just go on their own understanding and think that that's okay. They may not have an intent for harm, but if you don't help them understand what your boundaries are, how do you expect them to not ever step on them? All right. And then, what are some signs that we are not using our energy right? What are some signs we are drained? Well, one is we're tired, right? We're irritable, we're short tempered. Um, an easy one is we rely on other things like stimulants or energy drinks, that caffeine boost, that sugar rush, right? To bring us up, to kind of sustain us. Another one is a lack of motivation, right? If you don't have any motivation, or you are don't have any creative drive, right? You're at some sort of block and you can't move forward. That may be a sign that your energy is off. And then, of course, emotional heaviness. And this is if you are not dealing with anything strenuous, right? I understand life is hard. Life throws us a whole ton of curveballs. But just feeling emotionally heavy, that makes things harder to do. It just makes routine things harder to get into. Now, of course, we've talked about why that matters, and what are some common energy drainers and energy builders. Now, let's talk about how do we address some of these things. And of course, as usual, the very first thing we got to do is we got to become aware. Right? If we're not aware of where our energy level is at, what's draining it, what boosts it, all those things, where we are not doing ourselves justice. And one of the easiest ways that you can do that is to write it down. All right, you can write it down. Now, some of us have those $1,000 computers in our pocket, those cell phones, the iPhone, the Google phone, all those other Androids, whatever. We got those, but some of us like to write and like to journal. So you can write it down in your journal. And if for some strange reason you do not have a journal, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and click the link in the description of this show, and you can get yourself the official Master Your Mindset journal, along with any other gear and apparel that you might enjoy. So you can go ahead and become aware and write some of these things down. And some of the things we're going to write down is what drains us. Is it people, right? Are the people around us draining our energy? Are the environments? Is it the amount of work or task that we are dealing with or handling? Do we need to unload some of that stuff? Is it our thoughts? Do we need to change and redirect our thoughts to something better? Or is it simply just our daily routine, the habits that we have in place? Do we need to address some of those? All right. Then identify some of those things that boost it. Remember, we talked about meditation, yoga. Do we need to get rid of or change or enhance some of our relationships, right? Is it the environments that we go that provide us energy? My wife loves going to some body of water, a lake, a stream, a river, an ocean, anything with water that will boost her energy almost immediately. We also have to protect it, right? We talked about setting boundaries with people. I think we also have to set boundaries with some of the activities that we do. Hey, I'm just not going to do certain things. And then we also have to set boundaries with the information that we take on or the information that we don't take on, right? Some of that negative media impact. Social media can do it. News outlets can do it. Gossip from others can do it. A lot of information can drain us. So we need to protect what we're doing. Learn to say no. I have no problem with this one. Many people do, though. Learn to say no. All right. Don't overcommit. I need my peace of mind. So if I don't want to do it, if I don't feel like doing it, if I'm too tired, my thing is we'll see. Hey, Herm, can you do that? We'll see. Hey man, can you meet me at? We'll see. Hey, do you mind if hey, we'll see. And then I'll get back to you quickly. Right? Limit your time. Said this earlier, your time on social media, negative news outlets, and unproductive environments. We gotta be in alignment with that. Limit your time on social media, negative news, and unproductive environments. You got to limit your time in those places. Build new habits, right? Exercise, stretching, hydration, eating, and sleep. We need those four things, all right? New mental habits, right? Mindfulness. We talked about the breathing and meditation. Mental declutter. It's like spring cleaning for your brain, right? Get some of that mess out of there, right? Again, emotional therapy. If you need therapy, let's go get that. All right. Some people do what's called a detox, right? Where you release toxins out of your body. You can do that emotionally. All right. And then, of course, we talked about journaling and then spiritual practices, right? Prayer, visualization, connecting to a higher being or a higher purpose, right? And then align your energy with what your priorities are in life. So direct energy toward actions that support your goals, right? So again, if we talk about if you do want to become healthier, let's start eating healthier. Let's start exercising or getting some body movement. Let's make sure we are resting, right? Don't waste energy on tasks that don't contribute, that don't benefit you, right? Don't waste energy on relationships that don't benefit you, that don't contribute to you. Don't waste energy on activities that don't benefit you, that don't help you grow. All right. And then schedule in some things. My wife loves to say, be intentional. Be intentional about what it is that you are doing. So schedule some tasks for you and only you. Call it your selfish time. Call it me time, my time. I think, what do we call it? Self-care, right? That's what we're calling it now. I'm calling it selfishness, right? Let's have some selfishness and schedule some high energy tasks that are going to that are going to boost your energy back to where it is. It's time for some reflection and some affirmation. Your reflection prompts for this week: what activities or people leave me feeling energized, and what leaves me drained? Reflection number one: what activities or people leave me feeling energized, and which of those leaves me drained? What activities, what people leave me feeling energized, and what activity and what people leave me feeling drained? So write that down. That's your first reflection. Your next reflection prompt: how do I currently recharge when my energy is low? How do I currently recharge when my energy is low? I want you to think about this. How do I recharge when my energy is low? And reflection number three: what is one daily ritual that I can add to consistently elevate my emotional state. I think our emotions are going to be an important driver, especially if we're not emotionally intelligent. This might help us become there. But what is one daily ritual that I can add to consistently elevate my emotional state? Emotions are sometimes volatile. What is one daily ritual that I can add to consistently elevate my emotional state? I want you to reflect on these 3 things, write some things down, and let's see what we come up with. While we're reflecting, let's go ahead and move on to some affirmations. Affirmation number 1: I need to protect and elevate my energy because it shapes how I experience life. I need to protect and elevate my energy because it shapes how I experience life. I need to protect and elevate my energy because it shapes how I experience life. Affirmation number 2: I choose practices that restore my vitality and expand my possibilities. I choose practices that restore my vitality and they expand my possibilities. I choose practices that restore my vitality and expand my possibilities. Kings, my final thought for today is this: energy is the fuel that powers every choice, every action within your mindset. When you manage and protect your energy, then you show up with clarity, you show up with focus, and you show up with resilience. Without this vital fuel, even the strongest mindset can falter. So by cultivating your energy, you create the foundation for consistent, high impact action in every area of your life. By cultivating your energy, you create a foundation for consistent, high impact action in every area of your life. But just like all the others, energy isn't it on its own. To sustain progress and avoid burnout, you need some structures in place that support your flow, the flow of your energy, right? The systems dimension that we will be talking about in our next show is about creating routines, processes, and an environment that makes success almost inevitable. Okay, in the next show, we'll talk about the systems that align with your energy, they align with your habits, they align with your lens, and they align with your goals in life so you can consistently operate at your highest level. Once again, thank you all for listening. And as always, check your vibe. If your mind is bright, then you can vibe right. Yes, indeed. People, if this podcast has shifted your mindset or moved you to change your vibe, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with somebody that you love, somebody that you care about, or someone that you believe can vibe in a new way. Leave me a review, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at KingYesIndeed. Also, if you are interested in vibe, coaching, consultation, please email me at kingyesindeed@gmail.com. Let's find more personally tailored approach to your vibe. I give one-on-one coaching. I can do group coaching through mind or vibe or mindset coaching classes. Until next time, people, check your vibe. Mind bright, vibe right. Yes, indeed.